sorry to say, but it's very difficult for me to wave the Ghana flag. I can't take it. It's difficult. Not like I can't do.
Just you guys.
No, we can take it away, but the heart is not with it. Let's not be. We should be plain that we can carry the Ghana flag with us to place, but the pride, no, before it's not like that. And so, for a space like this, I have to convince myself strongly to put myself in a system where I know, okay, I'm doing retirement with an institution or something. I really want to believe in myself and find a way to say that this is how I'm going to retire. If I have a plan to do, I will do that.
Thank you for choosing this channel, Curating Dreams, a Creatives podcast. This is episode 8 with Betty Ackah, Dr. Yibor Kojo Yibor, and Crystal Tettey. Say again. No, what did you add? What title?
Royal.
I might like it. Royal, yeah.
Nakwadwa.
You know, it's funny. I should use that name more often,
Yeah,
but
you
I
should.
don't.
I like it. I remember we used to tease you about it when we didn't understand it, but I love it.
But there's some emotional baggage, certainly not capital, that comes with that name. And I guess that's, but it's one of the things I need to unlearn. Yeah, I'm not the same person that that baggage grew on. So as I grew, I should throw it off because it's a beautiful name. Crystal is a name that means so many things. It was chosen with great intentions and it's beautiful, but it's also very Western. Yeah. And it's something to think about. Anyway, we digressed in the first minutes of the podcast. That's crazy.
Let's go down the name route. We would have so much to say.
Yeah. So in episode 8, we're discussing plans for retirement. It's a question. What are your plans? Do you have any?
I think I retired before I was born. So now I am living the retiring.
You're now living the what?
Retiring.
Interesting.
Should I explain?
Yes, please.
So let's assume that I'm supposed to live for like 70 years on Earth. So the day I was born, I started at 70. Means that 1969, I am going to 1, which is
like
the
Benjamin
beginning.
Button, you go backwards.
No, I don't live like going backwards, but I believe that the beginning is the end and then the end is the beginning. Because, retirement, I get it. It's a social thing. We need money. But because I don't have that money, I'm assuming that I'm already living the retirement. It's not money for me now, but if anybody hear retirement, money is what comes up. And I think the last time we were discussing this capital thing, and I believe for some reason, the capital I have built will be the resources I'll be living on. And so I'm in my retirement. I don't want to use my brain to challenge me in order to give me that pressure of thinking this is what it is. It's softening the whole problem of it for me. And so I look at it like this, but I've not bothered too much about retirement. I know it's a real thing. It will hit us all, but I'm beginning from the back and coming forward. I think Betty's is different.
I was going to ask you, so what for you, retirement is the entire life journey?
Absolutely.
But you'd get to a point in your retirement process where you are not as active as you are now. The income isn't coming the way it's coming in now. So at that point in your retirement, which you're already on,
I am in, yeah.
What would be the difference for you? What would change, and how is the income going to come in?
This is what I'm saying, that my change point is when I depart from this place.
But before you depart.
As in when you die.
Before I die, like I'm sitting here right now, I'm in my retirement.
So when you get to 70, no, that is assuming that you bow out at 70. But when you get to 80 years in the retirement, what will change?
I believe a lot will change, but because I do not know, I live in hope. It's funny, but I really
what's
know.
What's the tangible aspect of the hope? What something tangible has to give you
my
hope.
Hope is that I really don't believe in living long.
Okay. Okay.
And so for some
My
reason, I'm
cousin.
hoping that,
Long distance.
yeah, I'm hoping that I don't want to cut age for myself, but I really hope I don't need that old age, because old age is also a trap that we walk into easily, sometimes by choice and sometimes by destiny. And so if our heart and our spirit are open to the universe for some things, sometimes because it's genuine, it comes to life. If we believe that, oh, this is my dream and we can achieve it, why can't we also dream the way we end?
Yeah.
And so it's really a very strong thing, and I think we need a certain spirit and energy to
attract
get to that place,
yeah.
because it's scary to just think that you need to put money together in order to get to a place where you can't work anymore and start living because you are spending money. As a creative, it is in my capacity to be active in doing creative things, and this is my retirement money. If you can walk to your garden and do something creative and go to the studio to do something creative which will keep your mind young all the time, you will die and have a lot of money but can't use the money. And so I don't want to see it with money like it is important. You might want to go to the hospital, you will need money and all these things, but for some reason it's also possible that you'll be so healthy that hospital won't come. You understand? There are people I know, they never go to the hospital. But it's all something we are using. This is where our resource is. And here. And it's possible if we believe it. But also we are making good friends. I can call you 60 years from now. Oh, Krista, are you still there?
My rent is due.
Metaverse. And I'll be on the mountaintop, no phone.
Yeah, but I mean...
That you say your rent is due. Yeah. I know, right? Speaking of someone.
No, but this is my way of thinking about it. It might not be practical to people, but it's something one should try. I mean, we all have different ways. I don't also like doing what everybody is doing.
Yeah.
And so I think about it like this, yeah.
Assuming retirement is a destination, and for most people it's that way. You see it as this. Some people don't make it there, of course, if you don't live that long. And then that question will come later. What do we do when we've put all of that aside and we don't get, the point you're making? But assuming it's a destination, what do we feel like we would need to be comfortable at that destination?
I mean, I think we have to be realistic, right? To understand what our idea of what our standard of living is, even now, and what we expect it to be later on. If you make such realistic projections, then it's easier for you to plan towards it. And for me, I feel like when I have some free time, right now it feels like life is so fast and so full and there's always something going on. I suspect that when I am no more in a formal working structure and formally employed and I have some free time, I suspect that I'll be one of those older people who likes to chill. And that's my realistic aspiration. I'm aspiring towards that.
With yellow hair or no color?
Chalet red. Red, fired. With some grey popping around because the mixture would be nice. So I would need money to do the dye. I would need money to go hang out. I would love to explore and all that. And then realistically, I also have children, and I started having children a bit late. So I suspect that when I step out of the formal working structure, I would still have to be taking care of my children. They would not have graduated from school and all that. So I have to plan realistically for all that. I must admit that I haven't started saving towards my retirement. It's something I'm aware of. It's something I tell myself, but I haven't done it. So even as realistic as I'd like to think I am, I'm not making realistic plans towards it. But then I would like to say that maybe 15% of the salary that I don't have yet, if I were to be saving that from now, and not just saving because inflation will make it peanuts by the time I get to that point, but investing it in the right portfolios, doing the right investments. If I were smart and I were doing that, I would have the kind of life that I'd like to have when I'm retired.
That sounds really...
If I were smart.
It sounds realistic.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're not doing it. It's honest, but it's the case for most of us anyway. And it's not necessarily, in my mind, it's not necessarily a choice. I'm not doing it because I don't want to. It's because I can't, given my circumstances. And it's crazy. I mean, it's not. It's what it is. Yeah. But then I'm just thinking about. There's formal, informal, of course. But what structures are in place in Ghana or anywhere else? Because you lived in Canada as well, Yibor, you've been in Germany and many other parts as well. What structures are in place that can facilitate or not this process? Or do we not need structures? Because we were speaking in earlier episodes about systems in place for people who can't think for themselves. So are there options? That's my good luck charm. If Alina made me a snake. Yeah. So yeah, are there structures in place that can help us think along those lines, assuming retirement is a destination for us?
I mean, as a people here in Ghana, there certainly is the social security for those who work in the government system. But for a freelancer like me, it means that you probably have to follow on private institutions who do pension programs for people who you can be paying some money down every month or every year, which I've heard a couple of them.
I think you could also do social security. I might be wrong.
With
I think
as an,
even
as
a
an
freelancer,
individual.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can do your own personal arrangements
With
them.
SNITs.
I think so.
Okay. I mean, these are there. However, because the kind of work I do now,
it's not regular income.
It's not. Mm-hmm. And it's not like every month you have this you can do. So even if you enter into that, the pressure of not being able to be consistent alone can either kill you before starting to use it. And so giving thought to this over the period, I was like, if these can work for people because they structure and say, because I'm going to die, I'm doing funeral plan and all, and they pay, the pension people also do all these things. So it means that in reality, you know that you are going to die at some point. And so you are planning towards that. If you also believe that life should be able to take care of you at some point when you don't have.
From a philosophical point of view.
Which you don't lose anything by thinking like that. And this is how sometimes I think about some of my situations. But I'm not stupid not to be saving some money, not to buy some crypto, where you know that they say this is a project in 5 years, 10 years time. The $20 I buy could be 20,000. It's a hope that is also there for us. And so to think properly of real money putting down, where you can also use that to support some other things that is real life situations of other people that's happening now, who can hope that they will look back to you because you have looked to them whilst we're all strong. We shouldn't be afraid of that place when we really can't be active anymore because we are too hard on ourselves to really physically put together things, material that we can hold on to. I mean, this is how life is anyway. Yeah. We need to do that. But I'm not afraid to die.
In Ghana, right, according to SNITs, the age for, that's if you are going through the formal structure, the age for one's ability, what do they call it, full pension, to be able to collect it fully every month is 60. Okay. That's at that point, it's assumed that you would be exhausted from all the working and you will no longer be as interested, I guess, in active work, what they call active work. But there are people who say 40 is the new 60, given the fast-paced nature of work, of our lifestyles, everything. I mean, people have back pain that our grandparents didn't have, for example. So, and still assuming that pension is a destination, is it time to revise those ideas for example?
I don't know if our system can handle that
People
kind of
going off
revision.
that
Oh
early.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, we can. I mean, even pain. I mean, people have to survive on the bare minimum, right? And that's even for after contributing for how many years of their working life, and then they still, because there are different grades to it and all that, and people end up on very measly incomes, pension, when they retire. So the system itself, it's overworked. I doubt that we can. It's different for, like, you talk about people with certain pains, like we mentioned in the previous in our conversation before we started recording. The footballers, they can afford to do that because if they've been smart with their money and they've done certain investments and all that, they have like a considerable amount of money sitting there that they can retire comfortably on. Or people who do other kinds of jobs, right? Like Yibor, he's a big man sitting here with all his creatives and his Bitcoin. Oh,
This is your perception of
my goggles. With his Bitcoin, he can decide to retire at 35, forget 40. And he might be fine. But I don't know if we have that luxury to decide as a system, a social system, the entirety of the system, that we should bring it forward a bit. I don't think that's feasible.
Even if the system is there, I have a feeling that the way they administrate it also will cause a lot of problem because there are people who go to the bank and their money have not come. These things kill people. And because my trust in the system that we are in have been going away for a long time. And right now, sorry to say, but it's very difficult for me to wave the Ghana flag. I can't take it. It's difficult, not like I can't do.
Just you guys.
No, we can take it away, but the heart is not with it. Let's not be, we should be plain that we can carry the Ghana flag with us to place, but the pride, before, it's not like that. And so for a space like this, I have to convince myself strongly to put myself in a system where I know, okay, I'm doing retirement with an institution or something. I really want to believe in myself and find a way to say that this is how I'm going to retire. If I have a plan to do, I will do that. And now with this virtual thing going on, it gives us a certain assurance that, okay, this can hold you and you don't need to go in a queue or hospital where they know that you are a retirement person and and the treatment they even give you, it's hard to accept that you can have it good like that. Unlike other places where when you were born, probably your retirement plan has also begun. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you know that
trust fund sitting somewhere waiting for you.
Exactly. So our thinking should, I think, change. We need to look at it differently now that, like you said, retirement is no longer 60, but 40. So if that is something we can consider, then retirement properly should also not wait for us to stop working, but it should wait for us to start working, which means that you shouldn't be on active when you get to a certain age. By the time you get to that certain age, that's when you need to be active. So we need to play it the other way, and it's not going to be easy, but I believe it's possible.
I mean, especially people who work 9 to 5, there's always this dream of one day not having to say yes, boss, not having to wake up at a certain hour, maybe less traffic now because most people work from home. But, and all of that is based on the assumption that you're doing something that you're dragging yourself out of bed every morning to do. But assuming you're doing something that you love, which is very rare, sincerely, I think, would it be possible to assume that you would want to work all your life and there would not be necessarily a destination?
I think that's what his opening. He is definitely in that mode. Yeah. I would like to say that I'm getting into a field that I love, which is academia, right? Research and teaching. It's a certain kind of energy that I thrive on. The constant human interaction of different minds, the constant learning process. So I would like to say that I think that would keep my brain invigorated for quite a while. I hope.
To 100.
I know. As long as I can do it. And thankfully, in academia, I think you can keep at it. You can be a consultant if you have to graduate, retire out of an institution. You could still do your research, private research. You could do private consultancies. You could do things. So it's certainly feasible for my field. Now, the problem comes when we think about ability. I mean, I never know. I'm hoping that I can keep my brain fired up for long, but I never know how things are going to go for me in terms of health. And so barring any of those obstacles, I would probably work for quite a while, but I would like to have some free time to chill, to breathe, to, smell the roses, so to speak. Yeah, I'm brown.
Wrong box checked.
Do you have a plan?
I was going to ask you.
Hey, someone told me, right, off camera, that I'm good at shooting questions, so I can avoid it. Yeah, but that was a nice one. You caught me. I've always done this dance between formal and informal. It's based on fears, because I'm always afraid of what the informal could do to me, given how insecure the streams of income are. So I've always done formal, informal, and so based on the times I've done formal, I do have contributions. Not enough, because how many months? You need 180 months or 15 years.
Oh, yeah?
Contribution.
15?
Or 15 years. Within, if you're going by the formal structure in Ghana, that's a lot. And speaking about peanuts, I won't say who, but an elderly person I know who worked for 20 years actively, day and night, sitting behind a desk, getting up, shouting because she was a teacher. Like, Charlie, when she picks up the check at the end of the month, with inflation, devaluation, whatever you're thinking about, it's crazy that they haven't predicted where the money, what it will be worth, 20 years, and it's worth nothing. It's like she should have been on holiday from day one, like you, and enjoy the moment, sincerely. Because it was painted like there was a destination that would be fun, but it's nothing. I think the paycheck she was collecting, it should be in a way that the paycheck you have then is almost the same feeling as when you were actively employed. I think that's what it should look like.
Yeah, I think it depends on the pay grade you retire off of. I think that's how they calculate it. But my goodness, that's horrifying. That's not something to aspire to at all.
Added to the fact that the days of the month change. You know how when you're actively employed within a formal structure, the 26th, 27th, 28th, or 29th, it's there. But then if the system is slow, you people and your computers, if the system is slow, or if somebody made a mistake, it happened once that this person I'm talking about, there was a mistake and they deducted rather than added. So for 3 months, this isn't funny. So for 3 months at her age, she had to go and chase it, go and come. And with all the transportation and effort involved, it's crazy. But all of this is too pessimistic. There has to be some...
I am thinking, in other words or in other circumstances, to have children, it's also a certain investment for your retirement.
That's if they'll take care of you, you mean?
Whether they take or they don't, I think just having them is good. Having, like, if you have a child or you have actually a child which is yours, the only hope is that they will take care of you. That is the only hope. If this hope is possible, you can also cast hope on the idea that you will be able to survive. It's an idea. Now, this idea can be very strong. I'm a realist, but sometimes I can also be very surrealist also. And I've lived in the surreal space for a while, and it has worked so far. And to assume that it will not work when I'm growing something older, it's a lie to some extent. But I'm facing it. I have a strong feeling that however it is, there is always that I don't want to use divine encounter. There's always that. The thing with the universe is that we are all universe. We are all some kind of planet or cosmos beings where we exist here, where your energy is always connected to something. I'm not trying to deviate from what we paperwork and 200 Ghana cedi every day. No. If this physical space exists, it is not from here that it exists. It exists from the spiritual world on that other world before here. And we hardly give room to consider these things because we assume we can't see them, but we are going into virtual reality now. And so this is where we really have to consider these things very seriously. So my thinking goes in this direction. But doesn't mean if I get something small, I don't need to put that. I need to. But I believe we should be looking more on that dimension because it's there. And that resources are endless. Nobody is going to put you in a certain queue and then be waiting for something to happen. But you see, when the universe is with you, things will happen in a very mysterious way. And you probably don't need to live that long in order to wait for retirement or be at the departure lounge where you're still waiting for the day death will come to you and things like that. We should get to the place where we have conversation with death and you tell, I'll come next week. And you're like, wait. You know, that's the kind of that I'm looking
Conversations with Death. It sounds like the title of a new performance by Yibor Kojo Yibor.
No, but no, seriously, I see it as a person. Yeah, and so if we can have that kind of, if we can reach that place, I think it will be very good for us that we won't rely on this system that is structured by men. And then unless it's we are preparing our own retirement, where you know that you have your spiritual space intact and you have what you can do physically as a human being also intact. That is just like a supplement.
So that's kind of like diversifying your portfolio.
Kind of. And it's only in these two ways. It's only in these two. But we should really look at that spirit world also more because we are spirits.
Yeah. But it's interesting you bring this up because when we were talking about metaverse, for example, and I was talking about what happens if all the electronic databases countrywide, worldwide crash because we are so accustomed. And then you also spoke about how Europe, for example, constantly relies on electricity. They haven't known what many African countries have known when it can just go like that. So it would make sense to not react and not rely solely on what your eyes can see or what you're able to control, because that too can go off. Age, time, context, whatever. Yeah, so, I mean, for some it's like hocus pocus, like you are alluding to something because it can't be seen, you know?
No, I doubt it. I think, like he said, we are very spiritual beings. And not just spiritual, we're also very religious beings. And quite traditional as well. It's like a whole mishmash of hocus pocus. So I actually, it's not far-fetched. People are always famanyamin and expecting the good they throw out into the world to come back to them. And I think it's something people can get on if we were to think about it seriously. And it's something we already do, but we probably haven't articulated it the way he said it, right? Many people have this faith and this hope in God to set things straight in their lives later on. When you're in trouble, faith is so intangible. And it does sound crazy to people, but it's something that we hold on to so strongly.
It's powerful.
We have, and honestly, it's like the law of attraction thing that Ada was just talking about. What you believe and you hope in and you put your mind and your efforts into, it comes to you. You attract it to you. So, like I'm saying, it's just not having an ambition is a kind of faith, right? But we just see it in a certain way. But it's faith. Going to school and working so hard and writing all these exams and telling yourself, I'm going to graduate and get this kind of job and live this kind of life. It's faith because it's intangible. You haven't actually experienced it. You don't have the money to buy it into being, but you hope and you work towards it. So it's actually not far-fetched, right, to have that spiritual consciousness about how the destination could be for you.
Talking about faith, I mean the definition. The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Yeah.
If we have this assurance of what faith is, why not use it?
Exactly.
I mean, this is it. If I be the only one who would think stupidly like this, and live for a certain period, and at least I have experimented, I have tried it, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
When you ask, what do you see yourself, or how do you see yourself into retirement? What do you want to take into retirement? The only thing I could think of is to be happy. I want to be getting there happy. This does not mean that I'm not thinking of material things to use. No. There is nothing that will substitute you being happy within yourself than any other thing. You can be hungry. If you are happy, it doesn't eat you more like if you are not happy. You know the reason why you are hungry at this moment. Not because you don't have food, not because there is no money, but simply because you understand the cause by which there is no food. You understand. And so that keeps you at a good place. You understand? Because we have this being inside of us that want to manifest in very different ways. But we limit it simply because our eyes are seeing things that other people have that we also want to attract, but we do not know how to reach there. And so we try to block that and then feel intimidated by what other people are manifesting. How can't we manifest this same thing without necessarily having this? Which people have done over the period. There are people who are fasting for 50, 70 days and things. They are not religious. They are not. And they are so happy. They are so aligned. They are so balanced. What are we talking about? So for me, this thing is, because I don't have money, this is the way I have to be thinking it. Betty, I'm serious. I'm really serious.
Yeah. What's it called? Your 3D goggles.
That
It's working.
is his capital.
Yeah, my spiritual capital is
He's
there.
cashing in on that
It's
capital.
heavy. It's there.
Okay, there are two things on my mind. One, in the episode where we're talking about capital, that's the previous episode, Betty, you were talking about some people who never catch a break. Like, it's one bad cycle after another. Can we assume, or is there room to think that perhaps they didn't believe in the law of attraction, didn't attract enough with their thoughts, beliefs, emotions, whatever? Is it...
I don't know, honestly, who knows? I think it would be very selfish of me to assume that everybody who wishes for good gets it, and everybody who hopes for certain things gets it. I have certainly not gotten everything I've hoped for or had mad faith in. And Crystal, you experienced one of my greatest losses with Quaye. And this is an ex-boyfriend who passed away. And up until the second he passed away, I had absolute faith. Absolute, I won't lie, absolute, that he was going to get up off that bed. Absolute faith. I was so sure that I was praising God for and he was on the hospital bed, and I was watching him struggling, and I was praising God that he's about to get up. I see it. I was seeing it, and it didn't work out. Right. That after that, I didn't have faith for years because I couldn't believe it hadn't happened. So anyways, let me move on before I start getting emotional. But I'm just saying that I think it's unfair for us to assume that because it's not going well for someone, they didn't have faith or they didn't believe. It's hard to know, honestly. I would like to say, though, that there are other things that I've really worked hard at and focused all my positive energies on, and they've come to fruition. It's very hard to say. I don't think we can make such a sweeping generalization.
In the things we hope that it would definitely should happen, sometimes because we are all universes, the way I am having faith in something that this should happen, it must be. Sometimes it is not in my position to have that. It is in the position of that thing to also pull for itself to let it happen. I give an example. Like in church, for those who go to church and the pastor should pray for them and they hope. Most of the time, it is not what the pastor have to do. It is also your faith and how much you can pull. The same way the universe is, if those who believe in God, you pray You can't pray not believing that you will receive. The listener who will listen, he will give. But it is you also who needs to attract. So I think these things all happen because our perception and our understanding to things must be aligned. And when that happens, we don't need to worry about the end. Because life is not about arriving. It's about experiencing it.
Yeah.
It's the journey. If you know about the story of Ackah, the journey of Ackah, it is a poem actually written by Cover Fire. It's called Cover Fire. He tells a story about a warrior who traveled, who went to battle, and he was looking forward to return back home. But the poem says that he should not think of arriving, but then he should take the time, visit Egypt, see the beauty, buy perfumes, smell them, enjoy. Like what he's trying to say is that enjoy the process whilst you go. Maybe you might arrive and be disappointed. Maybe you might arrive and you'll be happy what you were looking forward to see. You get it. But if you do not enjoy and you get to the end and you feel disappointed, it will be so sad for your soul. And this is how I get to understand life. And so what I said at the beginning is based on this belief that life is more of the journey, the experience, and not the end. No, it is not the end. Because the end has already been set, not by you, by the one who allowed you here. And this is why I'm not afraid to know what years I'm going to live. Probably it's just 50. And I've already done 44. So I have less to live. You understand? So if you know the end, that is when you start preparing. But if you don't know, why prepare? Enjoy the process.
But I think you have to do both.
You do.
You have to
Right, that's
enjoy the
correct.
process and also plan for
But
the end.
mainly we do too much
do
of
too
the
much of the end, thinking about what to do at the
exactly.
end.
I mean, how can you sit in a car and then just be thinking of the bus stop where you get out? I mean, you watch things
You
around
listen
you
to J. Cole while you're
in the
bus.
car.
Or maybe
Won't you buy? Yes.
experience the sweats
You
from
know,
other people,
you know.
the mates.
Yeah.
Kobong,
Read
all
signboards, read
Yeah.
billboards, see the hawkers. I mean, like, take the experience. You are not the driver. Also, let's consider that.
Yes,
We are
that's
not the
true.
ones leading our lives. We are being led. And if we believe that, that, we should look at it by the universe, because we are here in some kind of contract. We're in some business. This is probably not where we are supposed to be. We are transiting through here.
Were you expecting him to say by God? Why did you ask by?
Oh.
Don't mind.
I just wanted to see where he was going. You know.
But I know where we are sitting.
He's enjoying this, experiencing this one.
Yeah.
I mean, because I know you both very intimately, I think I pretty much, and I don't never want to assume that I know you to a fault where there's no room to discover, but I pretty much have an idea of the direction you would be going most times. But yeah, sometimes I like to play devil's advocate for the sake of it and for the sake of the cameras as well.
If I were to try and be a bit more tangible with my retirement plans, I've always thought that one investment area in Ghana that is almost foolproof, I think, is real estate. I feel like getting a nice little apartment unit somewhere or something and renting it out and using that as your retirement investment, in addition to if you are going to be on the SNET scheme or pension scheme or anything. I feel like that would be a very nice investment.
Especially since we are allowed to be ridiculous in our
and
expectations
do
of
the
tenants.
2 years advance.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do. I think that's cruel. And anyway, I don't want somebody living in my place for 2 years and they might be a distractive person. And yeah, that's not something I'm buying into.
Real estate, yeah.
I feel like that would be a good investment to make in Ghana.
Yeah, it's true. Now you've given me an idea.
Yeah, let's work on it.
And speaking of let's, do you feel like it will be a smoother journey? Okay, I need to disabuse myself of this destination concept principle. But would it be a smoother transition if we attempted to do this communally? like if there was some kind of, I don't know, artist fund for, for a rainy day, not necessarily a destination, but for a rainy day, someone is suddenly ill or can't walk anymore. Like, is it something that would, make our lives more colorful?
I'm jumping in
of
here
orange.
just in case you want to talk, but it makes me think of the saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. It's so important to have that kind of communal, it's absolutely important. I know of these people, how in North America, let's say in the United States, it's very hard for certain communities of people, especially people of color, to pass along generational wealth because of history and context and all that. And I've heard of all these groups of people who come together and buy homes and then communally rent them or, lease them out or whatever. And then the proceeds from that buy another home. And it's easier to do that because it's a lot of us are money, right? And then eventually in 10 years, in a number of years, we have all these properties that we would never have had if we had tried to do it on our own.
Talking about this, I'm just seeing a chain, and it's just connecting me back to the blockchain. And so I have this, I think of these conspiracies almost all the time, that it could probably be the reason why blockchain was developed, where all these intangible things have been acquired and is so voluminous in their capacity, how much of dollars is in one. And that value, they move on to the next one, move on to the next one. So like the property you're talking about is the same thing, but it's really going to be important for us, knowing who we are, brothers, friends, who consider ourselves family, to do something like that. Because there are places available, properties available, space available that we can begin to build new resorts and small places where it will be only be given out for rentals. And I think it's really a laudable idea where we can really retire there.
Especially for people who don't have like a regular steady income, right?
Which is many people, more than we think.
So it will be much harder for them to contribute to certain pension schemes and all, but these kinds of communal projects, it will be amazing.
Or buying land in metaverse. But how is that working anyway? I know I'm going off tangents. But how does that work? What is in it?
I have no idea. I don't know if in metaverse you can buy land.
I've seen it.
I know you can. Morning. Oh yeah, right. And then you can build homes. Yeah. And that's true.
Even virtual B&B, Airbnb, everything that is happening right now, like renting of things or buying of things and owning them, you can do them all in the virtual world. You can do them. And also there is this mining coins. That you need to calculate some numbers, put some numbers, and then you are mining the currency, you are mining coins. And how they do that, I still don't know, but I know there are so many things in this new crypto space. Like you want to buy, let's say, Bitcoin. It's not only the buying amount you are supposed to pay. Because you are buying it, you are paying charges on the currency, and then also paying charges on the mining of it before it gets to you. That's how it's processed.
It's kind of like if you go to a bank, you pay the bank money to process your transaction. So it's the same. It's just cheaper on the blockchain. The processing
is cheaper.
It's cheaper because it's decentralized. It's a number of people doing it, and the first person to arrive at the solution is the one that gets the currency and all that. It's much cheaper. Centralized banks, remember, if you have to transfer money from GCB to Echo Bank, it takes days and the number of processes it goes, and they're charging you for each one. And GCB has a charge, Echo Bank has a charge before you eventually get through and all that. But it's
and if
much
it's the
cheaper.
Same bank, it goes faster. If it's different bank, it takes a longer time. And so it's something like that. And I got to realize that it's a company here at Kukumlemle where you can buy the e-currencies. I tried to look for them, to go there and see the office, and they are just there.
Oh, so
here,
it exists?
No, it exists. The company is here. It's called e-currency.
Also, you buy cryptocurrencies.
You can go and buy cryptocurrencies there, and then like you have
do they have like ATMs?
No, not like that. It's all by email. It's all by email. Like I have mobile money. I can buy, let's say, what the names. Let's say you want a Bitcoin. You go there, they have all the other coins that they sell there, and you can buy, and then you get it like then you can use that to buy whatever you are going to buy. And what I'm trying to say, the company is here in Accra with us. So don't think they are the only ones to. We don't know a lot of them. Yeah. A lot of them. Yeah, retirement.
So actually, Bitcoin for retirement, maybe.
I'll let you guys enjoy it.
Look sharp.
Wallahi, I'm not. If the whole world moves in that direction, safe. You come and find me on my mountaintop. I'm serious, no phone. The day will come. WhatsApp safe. I look forward to the day I can delete that app.
Why don't you now?
Because obligations. You owe someone a report. Because I'm still in that quote-unquote active phase. But the day when I feel, okay, and this is again thinking as a destination, but no, I'll cut off all of the virtuals from my life. And you have to come and find me. No reception.
At some point, before I got on WhatsApp, I also decided not to for a while. I realized a lot of things are passing by without me accessing, because also the kind of work I am doing, the art, and you need to share information. But at some point, if the privileges that allows you not to use them is still with you, you will survive it. But when the need of what you live by is connected to it, you will find a way.
I mean, how much I hate WhatsApp groups.
Yeah, you'll find a way. I know some people, there's an artist. He doesn't believe in touching money. And so he managed as an artist, and not in Ghana, you won't get it. I think it's an American. And he managed to get funds to do his art project. But he doesn't touch the money. People administrate the money and, okay, pay this person, pay that person. So it's always possible when you have the power to imagine how, what, when, where you want, you can do that. But it also means that you should be able to get a certain level of operational power.
I was going to say that you have to have the leverage, right?
Yeah,
you don't just get there and decide.
You
have to have the leverage to cash that in and build on that leverage and make demands based on that leverage.
It's crazy.
So, what would be one, or you could add more, the one thing that you feel you'd like to do differently towards communal retirement building?
I think surround yourself with the right people if you're saying communal, because it doesn't go right if you're with the wrong clique. It's important to be able to trust the people you're working on whatever project, because Charlie, is still about money at the end of the day, and it's not everybody I trust with my money. So I think having the right people, having the right combination of things, the right ideas, like people with different, diversity of people, right? Different ideas, different skills, different strengths and weaknesses, and knowing how to manage all of that. I think that would be the most successful collective.
So it's about complementarity of skills and trust.
Yes.
And above it also, same spirit people. I mean, people who are aligned and are open-minded also for new possibilities, try new things, but believing definitely that we are not here just by being here. I think we need to look into this also,
Is it fair to think that our emotional well-being linked to law of attraction / faith, if you believe, to a large extent makes that possible? And so your community should also be one that invests in your emotional well-being, or is that a consequence Is that automatic when you are with the right people, quote unquote, that they would automatically invest in that and help you along? I don't know if it makes sense.
I mean, I think it's not necessarily based on the context of what we are talking about. If we are talking about a group of people that are working towards certain kinds of investments to get you to a certain goal, I would not automatically assume that they are the same group of people who would invest in my emotional well-being.
Right.
It depends on the end goal and what we are looking at. So I might not necessarily involve myself with people that, make me feel good or give me general well-being if they would not fit the purpose for which we are working. I wouldn't assume so. I don't know.
Especially since money is
I
amongst
think so.
us, so it doesn't necessarily bring people together for an altruistic something. True.
And I think also, from what is just the same thing she's saying, when you start with even 2 or 3 people, because of the kind of energy you guys have and what it's becoming, it will attract those kind of people to come in. So you don't need many before you start. Usually we just need a few, and then based on the good you are doing, the good will pull people, and the right people, and you will know, because you have also been together for a while. When somebody come and the energy is not too good, you will know that I don't think one person definitely will fail, because emotionally for you can see, for her she can hear, the other person can taste. And this is also one of the things we need to work ourselves, our senses, because they are not just there for us only. It's also there for the reception we get and the frequencies we pick up. People can taste death or something is about to die and things like here. So this, it's also the thing I was talking about our spiritual. And so you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Let's try something as we wrap up. What is the one thing I or us we would wish on the other person in their retirement, present or future? Because we can assume that we are here in the retirement, or we're it's not a
destination by journey.
Yeah. What's the one thing we would wish on the other person?
Go first.
Okay. Let me see. This is my hocus pocus side, but I've always told myself, and I could be lying to myself, but that I'm more into the emotional capital than materialistic. So I've always assumed that if I have what it takes to be happy, like to your earlier points, with or without the materials, that should be fine. So based on that, I wish you both focus. Yeah, I think I would want for you in your retirement, present or future, the emotional well-being, the zenitude, to see gold where there isn't even.
Right now, my father, he's quite old, right? And he has a bit of a memory problem, doesn't remember everything. And even though it's a bit disheartening that you're discussing something with him, something important to both of you, and he doesn't remember what you're talking about, I feel like there's a certain level of peace in that. I've always feared that I'll get to a certain point in my life where I have all these regrets. What I wish I had done and never did, and I've lost chances I can't do anymore. So all the regrets, all the worries, I would love to get to the point where none of that worries me. So I don't mind if it means I lose my memory. I don't mind, right? Because there's a certain peace in just being. So that's what I would wish for both of you, contentment and peace, no matter what the journey has been like for you. But to get to that point and just be content, be happy that I did my best, and I like where I am now.
Midas.
I will wish for you, like I've said before, that wealth of happiness. But it's also in different dimensions for everyone. But to be happy is also to have peace. To be happy, to have an emotional, a balance in your emotions. To be happy is not to be afraid of what you don't have. To be happy is to be able to feel free to ask anybody or tell anybody your peace of mind. So at that age, you can pick up the phone and forget who you are going to call. It's happiness. You've expressed it. And I think if we are happy at that moment, at that place, because we are still ending it or going, what's best like that? I just want to be happy.
Hey,
People wake up in the morning and they haven't eaten and they don't even remember that they've not eaten simply because they have peace within. And this is a certain amount of happiness that you have. You can't buy it. And this is, for me, I think it's powerful.
That's like intangibles.
But actually, happiness can also be having the money.
So
it can come. Yeah, yeah.
Intangibles, but also wish me the 12-figure digits in
Yes,
cash,
in
not
cash.
your virtual.
No, but because when you are and you have it, you don't consider it. And so we are not worried that it's okay, let it be 17 figure. Let it be 17 figure. Yeah. But yeah,
It has its value
thanks.
too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Because at that point, when you are also calling people, hey, how is your financial situation? Come home. And then you give. You understand? At that level, when you are going to depart and you are doing that, I think that would be amazing. Yeah, that would be really amazing.
I'll be writing blank checks. Anyways, episode 8 is over and out.